I'm Charlotte Powell, I'm 21 now from Anfield.
John Edge, I'm head coach for Halewood ABC and I'm trainer to Charlotte Powell.
Probably say I've never ever been a good kid. Like, a good kid is well-mannered, but always been the one that loves to fight in school, always in trouble. Always getting barred from footy games because I'd always be scrapping with the lads on the field and that over the ball. We all get on, you know what I mean? Brother used to box, I used to always play footy. Dad always used to watch us. Mum always used to get me, get the game abandoned for always shouting at the ref. It wasn't really much through me, it was through my brother, but not as much so through as what people would think. It was more about that I was just so angry as a kid. I was always angry in footy anyway, I was always called like the little snapper because I'd just take it out. And it was just me old boxing manager. He used to always pressure me into like going, do you want to fight, do you want to fight, do you want to fight? And I'd be like, I'm not really feeling it. And then I just got into it one day, put the gloves on in the gym, and went there, and it was, never took them off since. I don't think they thought I was going to stick to it and keep to it and want it as a job as much as I have now.
Growing up, I was a shy kid, got bullied. I had no sort of father figure around. My mum had alcohol problems, so you know, whenever I had no one to guide me as such, do you know what I mean? And then when I did start fighting back, I got a taste for it, and then come a bit handy on the streets, and then got into kickboxing. Do you know what I mean? And that sort of disciplined me then. Do you know what I mean? And then I started like taking fighting seriously, like you know, competitively. I've always been a bit of a coach as well as fighting, but when you're actually fighting no more and then you become a full-time coach, I struggled at first because I was training the pros and I proper struggled being on the outside of the ring when I was used to being on the inside. So when the kids were training, I always struggled being that one outside the ring when I was always the one who was coached, not the coach. So it took me a long time to get used to that. So when I left the pros and went into the amateurs, that's when I really settled down and I realised it was over for me. So that's when like I started like really becoming a better coach and enjoying it. I used to get depressed after training the pros, but the amateurs was a lot different, and then I'm settled into it now, do you know what I mean? So I'm happy not getting punched in the face. It's always there in me, because I've been offered loads of times to come back. I've still got it, you never lose it, do you know what I mean? Like I still spar with my fighters, but it's the training for a fight. When you're training consistently, day in, day out, like I'll have days when my back goes, or you know, I'll have an injury and I can't train. It's where when I was fighting, you just cracked on with that. You just got on with it, and now it's like I can't. So that's the only reason why I'm not fighting now. You know what I mean? Because of the injuries. Like I've got really, my L4 and my L5 are prolapsed and my L3 is bulging. I've tore both my biceps. I've got loads of injuries, and like at the age I'm at, they are like sort of the hamper your training, as where when I was like in my 20s and my 30s, you could just get on with it, do you know what I mean? It's like now, they are really bad, and that's the only reason why I'm not fighting, because I can't do a fight camp, do you know what I mean? I couldn't do it.
I've always wanted to go pro anyway. I've always seen myself as being a world champion and like being the best I can be in the top of the game. But mainly it was through all this lockdown and that, because like it just stopped us everywhere. Like where we wanted to be in the amateur, like England, the Olympics, it just stopped. So now everyone on the Olympic pathway is now going next year. So that means I'm not going to go next year, I'm going to go next 4 years. So that'll make me 25. By 25, I could already have took half of the titles, won numerous fights, and be laughing.
Still up. I'm gonna get one more time. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's a talented kid, you know what I mean? But my eyes, she was pushed a bit too quick, too soon, because she got like massive achievements, but then the experience doesn't match what the titles what she's got, you know what I mean? So that was where we struggled, and that was what we were trying to do, was trying to get a record up and get a more experience with bouts. But no one wants to know, because when you win a national title after fucking 2 fights, mate, you know what I mean? It's hard to get you to fight with someone who's had the same amount of fights as you, because all the time the phones are going, and the girls have had like, 40, 50, 60 fights, you know what I mean? Charlotte's only had a handful, so that was where we found, so that's why we took her to Ireland and stuff, and we took her away, and to try and build her up a bit better, do you know what I mean? And look after her a bit more. The mum and dad, I know them from the promotions that we do. We do these rave promotions. And the dad actually wanted me to speak to the brother, because the brother was a talented boxer, but he'd left the sport, do you know what I mean? And he wanted to see whether I could sort of revive him and get him back into it. So I spoke to the brother, because he wasn't actively boxing, do you know what I mean? Because you don't speak to active boxers, because it's deemed as poaching, do you know what I mean? And you just don't do it. So he just didn't want to know. He's happy doing his music stuff. So I just said to him, well, look, if you ever want to train or get back involved, my door's always open. And then I got a message off Charlotte off Facebook. Now, I never actually knew Charlotte, do you know what I mean? I never actually met her. And she messaged me just saying, she wasn't happy and she was looking for a change and stuff like that. So I just said to her, well, look, if you want to come down and see me, but it wasn't in my club. I said, don't come to the club. I said, just come to my studio in here, do you know what I mean? And when she come down, we trained. And she loved it, and I said, well, look, go back and see your club, do you know what I mean? I said, go back and see them, let them know, whatever, and then when, if that's what you really want to do, then, you're more than welcome, do you know what I mean? And that's how it really started. That's it, right there. 5, 4, 3, 2.
I've got one unorthodox. That's just a all-women's brand. Does boxing gloves, head guards, groin guards, t-shirts, sports bras, leggings, everything. Gloves, pads, all for women, obviously, because women's boxing is taking off a lot more now than it did years ago. But it's like, women's hands are smaller than men's, do you know what I mean? So you can put my hand in a 14-ounce glove and it'll move around, but your hand ain't gonna move around, do you know what I mean? Because it's naturally bigger. I've got Sky CBD on Instagram. That's I've known Chris all my life since I was he's like a granddad to me, do you know what I mean? I've known him that long. He does his own CBD company, and he's took off on that massively. I've got KIQ gym wear. That's just that's both gender gym wear. I've got Fighting Demons. John sponsors me.
Well, what he's doing now is just literally, the reason why it's took so long is because Matty's done it all on his own. He's had no help, and we've done loads and loads of footage, loads of different angles and loads of different things, and he's been changing it all over off these hard drives. And I think he's had about 20 hard drives that he's been changing it all over from. So he's sorted it all out now, and it's it's putting the pieces together so that it fits together like a perfect picture. Do you know what I mean? And so it's really, the next couple of months, you know what I mean? He should be really finished, and he's working hard on it all the time, do you know what I mean? He's looking on a cinema screen, and then he's also talking about doing an 8-part mini-series on a social media platform, maybe YouTube or Google or something like that, you know what I mean? Where he's splitting it up, because it's got all different sorts of compounds in it, you know what I mean? But it'd be good for you to speak to him about it, you know what I mean? Because it's really, it's from where it started, because basically it was just documenting my life and my career. It's just sort of to show people what I was leaving behind, and I did do something, because when I was first fighting, there wasn't really videos or social media platforms around. So for me, it was just about sort of documenting something, just to say that from what I come through, what I did, and it was there then, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's rather than just hearsay or, you know, people saying this or saying that, you know what I mean? So that was all that I wanted to do, and just to try and show people that, like, you know, you can go through dark times and come through the other side, do you know what I mean? And try and help people, do you know what I mean? So, and to be honest, it's already doing that already, and it hasn't even been released, do you know what I mean? The amount of messages I get off people, do you know what I mean? Through like things like this with the interviews, what I've done, telling people about my past and my troubled childhood, and then the way I've come through and changed it all around, and now I'm giving back to kids and stuff. It's like, it's helping people already. So I think it's only going to go from strength to strength when it actually does drop. 3. Good, and again. Arms up.
I'd say I love the adrenaline rush, to be honest. I love, like, I don't know, like, I don't have no fear. Like, I'm never scared. I'm not scared of no one. I'm not scared of nothing. I just like the thing, like, okay, let's go. To me, I just like, I think it's got to be the best feeling in the world. So I hear, but boxing at its highest highs, I'm lowest lows, because I've been at the lowest low when I lost, when I was on a winning streak. Like, I think I was 6-0 or 7-0, and I lost. And it was like, felt like, what's the point? Why did we do it? But then it's like, a few weeks later when you're training again, you're sparring, just had a boss spar, and you think, that's why I did it. It's not the fact of being scared of fighting someone or like sparring a certain person or moving up in weight class. It's the fact of having you don't want a loss. You just don't, no one wants to feel it, you know what I mean?
To be honest, they'll see it. We don't really need to say much, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I spoke to Steve Woods, you know what I mean? And Steve's not really a fan of women boxing, do you know what I mean? But I know for a fact after Charlotte boxes, he will be, because, and it's the same with the likes of Eddie and stuff, because obviously that's where most people want to go, is like with matchroom and stuff. And I think after Charlotte has her first couple of fights, I can't see why he wouldn't want it, because women's boxing's booming. And Charlotte, when she fights. She's a cracker to watch, she's entertaining, she's a good kid. She can box as well, do you know what I mean? She's not just a scrapper, she knows how to work to a plan, do you know what I mean? And she's dedicated, trains all the time, 24/7. And that's what I love about it, that's why we gel. Because I was the same, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I was diligent when I was training, you know what I mean? I was dedicated. So, and that's where we hit it off, really.
I think a lot of people are taking more interest in it now because girls are just as good as lads. And I think, like, I'd say I do fight like a lad, to be honest. I wouldn't say I fight like a girl. I reckon if I put a guard on and fucking tied my hair back there tight, you'd probably think I was a lad. If you really want it, you can get anything you want in the world. You don't have to do it from the age of 1 to become a world champion. And that's all I'd say.